King Arthur's Camelot. There's a verse from the Bible that says when we return to the Holy Land we will return with a new language, an old language. That old language is the ancient language of the English, Irish and the Irish king. The English king Callaghan became Athelstan. Athelstan became Arthur. Cashel became Camelot. The last recorded Briton law, Merlin. We are thing in the saga of Callaghan, which they've removed from the internet now. The saga of King Callaghan has 3 different spellings in it for Callaghan. So I have 3 different names for him here: Arthur, Athelstan and Callaghan. The original name is Callaghan. So for me to get this, we're in the matrix, I have blockers. If I walk into I'm banned from the libraries now, we're trying to teach this stuff. If I walk into the libraries now, one of them called the police, but I'm increasingly bumping into Irish leprechauns when I'm going into libraries trying to use the thing, and I have to retreat. But the 8 sounds have been missing from our language, from the original English language, and our law is missing from English Irish language, is Briton law, the law of Merlin. Let me show you Merlin. Merlin's here. Here's Merlin now. King Callaghan was the last recorded man to have a Briton. A Briton is not a druid or a wizard. He's a lawgiver. He's a member of the Nefida. He's a poet. Nefida means them who hold justice literally in their heart, those who are close to God. There is a round table in Ireland of those who are close to God. It's actually in Tala. It's a joint round stone. It could be something. It's in Tala village. That could be the round table. It's in Dublin, just outside Dublin. But here, look. There's Merlin there. His name is Dumarch, or Dubamark, or Fiach. That's the language we have to learn to speak, because there's 8 sounds missing, and if we want to be in the presence of God in the Holy Land, we're going to have to learn. And this is the thing, this is the bit I'm not going to like, but I couldn't give a flying fuck. When I had a load of rooks with my missus, she taught me children lies. It says in the thing that when the Lord returns, he will remove the tongues of the false teachers. So one of these days I'm going to have to sit down with my children and my ex-missus, and I'm going to have a conversation. And if that conversation happens to mean that they lied, and they're teaching my children lies over the truth, they may be liable to have their tongues removed. So, this is women don't need their tongues to produce children for the tribe. They just need to lie back and enjoy the ride. That's the long and the short of it, and that's the way it is. That's the language of kings being spoken now. So what we had is an influx of foreign people. The latest influx of foreign people were traumatised communists on speed. So now the new language we have in Ireland mostly consists of Cuva. This is the dumbing down of our population. We have to abandon all of this language here in Ireland and England, and we have to return to the language and the law of the mother. You must uphold the law of your mother, the book of Proverbs. She will honour you and preserve you. Now the saga of Callaghan is gone. The reason why the saga of Callaghan is gone, because Lady Moore describes Callaghan, the chief of the Huguenot tribe, Callaghan, king of England and Ireland, Scotland, Wales and France, the emperor of the Galatians, King Arthur himself. She describes him as red face and a red head, exactly like this Anglo-Saxon king, King Arthur, Athelstan. There he is. Now here's the Briton law. Now, I'll give fair warning to people. They better start learning the next generation. It took us 3 generations to get here. It might take us 3 generations to get back if we have that much time. I'm not too sure. So strike while the iron's hot. And people that are teaching children these lies and stuff. And the one thing happens to people that interfere and try and stop us breeding. This is how I get stopped breeding. My sperm are like little fish in a little sea swimming around. I walk past the traffic lights, they get zapped like a dolphin zaps a fish. I step on the train, they get zapped. The reason this being is because Athelstan chased the pigs into the house and they sued for peace with his 12 sons, the Knights of the Round Table. Now there's a reason why the Romans don't want us having loads of sons. It's because we invaded Rome and wrecked the Senate. Now the Romans are looking to move because they know the time is up, because Jesus says nothing new under the sun, what was before will be again. They changed the furniture, but the cycles probably remain the same that we have over the years that we have to move. Jesus is here. as far as I'm concerned. You might get own decision. If you have a personal relationship with Jesus, you'll meet him soon enough. But what I'm saying to you is, the Briton law is quite progressive. Whatever we have, we can apply to today. But it has to be law. Now, we want to see Camelot, do you? There it is. The Rock and the High Tower. Now, that Rock and the High Tower was filled with salt. The Knights of the Round Table, Cashel became Camelot. Cashel became Camelot. The Knights of the Rock and the High Tower became the Knights of the Round Table. And here we have a picture of Camelot. The verse from the Bible that says we will return. So the sounds that come out of our mouths are very important, because in the beginning there was the Word, and the Word would be God. God spoke the truth. Our language must be a truth, but when we want to get on, the sound waves in the air create a living atmosphere or a dead atmosphere. The sound waves you get at the checkouts and stuff like that are killing your sperm. You can't be fruitful. Like a dolphin sapping fish, they can only take so much of it, and then the sperm count goes down, and then you get testicular cancer and stuff like that. We are under biological, metaphysical, spiritual attack. The men are becoming like women because all the plastic has estrogen in it. They're sapping us in the balls. The women are rolling over us and getting too fucking cheeky for their own fucking good. It's the man that rules over the woman, whether they like it or not. And if they keep complaining about it, remove their tongues, because they're teaching it to the children. And that's not the way our tribes are supposed to work. We're tribal people. We're descendants of King David. We have to sit on the throne with David, and that's the God. Jesus shares everything with us. But you have to return. And when we get down to the Holy Land, we have to book our ideas up, or we'll be slaughtered with Gog's army. Yeah? The chaff, get rid of the chaff before the truth, the flame, and don't arouse and don't anger God. Now, there's a lot of people that are feminine now because of all the estrogen and years and stuff. The way they get into heaven is probably by being a eunuch. Eunuchs can go to heaven. God says you can get into heaven, you can get into the kingdom. But if you continue to sin, doesn't matter what you think, doesn't matter what lies you've been taught. God is clear and adamant on what he sees as sin. We're all sinners, but to do it every day over and over again. You're meant to be a man to procreate. That's what you do. Now, anyone that's interfering with the chief or the top people, procreating and producing children, is an enemy of the state. Anybody in Ireland that opposes removal of the monasteries from the Rock of Cashel down into the thing and make them into a hotel, whatever, down the bit. We want to know what's underneath there. We want to see Camelot. That's the reason why when I went to the Rock of Cashel, I asked them questions about Callaghan. He wouldn't answer the thing. He wouldn't open their fucking mouths. He didn't exist as far as they said. He developed amnesia. I says, right, well, what's under? You can't move that. I said, why? The Vatican put loads of graves there. And you're not allowed to dig up graves, but that's a load of bollocks, because they dug up all the graves in the hill of Tara. So now I know for 100% they're hiding stuff from us. I'm not listening to their lies anymore. You shouldn't either. We're going home. They can't stop us. That's the attitude you have to have. There's a song in the drum and bass, and they know that they can't stop us. Yeah, they're not. And they're rotten with the tribe and slew them on bare feeling them carry. Dig a ditch, burn a witch. Yeah, all of that. So the Briton law poet became Merlin, a wizard. They removed the Briton law, restored the Briton law, do it in good fashion. I say this with conviction because it is no joke. Don't let them feckin' belsies fell the mighty yoke. The yoke is the symbol of life. And then you see the point, the acorn everywhere. That means they own your children. The yoke is the symbol of the tree of life. They're trying to fell the tree of life. There's all of these women running around. Look at them. They're in their 20s, nearly hitting their 30s, and they haven't got any children. They're empty vessels. That's not the way our tribe. We have to. These are ruling over us. This is not right. You will rule over them and rule over you. You say anything truthful to them, they'll accuse you of being sexist, a homophobic, a misogynist. All of these new language that these fucking wizards have made in the wizard's Bible to destroy our way of life. Cultural sabotage is the charges I want drawn up. To label these people with the truth, hit them with cultural sabotage and all everything that goes in and the parameters of it. Under law, not their law, not action legislation. It's in law already. Yeah? We just have to pluck it out and find it. Seeking you shall find. Truth no longer lost. Neglect of this quest. Eternity lost. Lost souls for eternity. You can't neglect this quest. The truth for your knife and a pledge for your life. You pledge yourself to Jesus Christ. We belong to him. That's the way it is.